Hello out there, YouTube world again. This is Katie. Today is the 21st of April. I'm a little bit upset today because I feel that it's necessary for me to talk about this a little bit, but it's not something I'm uncomfortable talking about, but something that I don't like to talk about it. But I will, because there's a lot of people trying to help me, and they can't really help me if they don't know the full story. So, I've had quite a few questions about the custody battle that I've not really laid hints about, but, mentioned here and there. And, had some people asking me, how could some guy off the internet, file for custody of your son? Which is a perfectly logical question, to be honest with you. And the truth is, I messed up. I met Michael's father on the internet, and that was my first mistake. So, kind of going from there, I met Michael's father, Scott, on the internet. I just said that. And everything was okay for a couple months. I was living with my birth parents. And my birth mother decided that she couldn't really handle having me in the house. It was a little bit too personal, a little bit too... I don't really know how to describe it because I'm not inside her head. But they tried to decide where to send me, and they couldn't really think of anything, so they gave me a ticket to go live with Scott in Oklahoma. So I was on a train for like 3.5 days, which blew ass really bad. Anyways, so I get to Oklahoma, and Scott's family is pretty nice. His sister was young, 16, rooming with a 30-year-old, and Dad was pretty much oblivious to it. Her dad was. Scott really just didn't give a damn. Kind of stayed to himself. And a couple months after I moved in, I started missing my periods, found out I was pregnant. And I really didn't know what to do. I'd just gotten my dad's life insurance policy for when he passed away. And I kind of blew through that money really bad, like it was water, because I didn't know any better. I was only, 18, 19 years old. I was 4 months pregnant when Scott really crossed the line with me. He and his sister fought a lot. His sister's cats would randomly spray on stuff, and I couldn't clean it up, but nobody else wanted to. And there were a couple times where I actually put myself in danger cleaning the cat litter box because I couldn't stand the smell anymore. It was making me sick. And it was not a very good house to be in, but there wasn't very much I could do without my family's support. And they definitely were not being very supportive. I had advice ranging from get a hysterectomy to get an abortion to have the kid and raise them all by yourself because we're not going to do anything but give you a thumbs up. So, Scott got into an argument with his sister one day while I was asleep, taking a nap. And I woke up because there were police in the house. And he had pulled a loaded shotgun on his sister over a pile of laundry that she would not clean up. He wouldn't clean up because her cat sprayed on it. She wouldn't clean it up because it was his laundry. I was already having problems with Scott's temper before that, and that was kind of the final last straw there, so I, definitely, I moved. And I kind of wandered around Wisconsin, finally wound up in Texas, which is where I'm at to this day. But the person that came and picked me up from Wisconsin and drove me to Texas, his mother kicked me out because the boy was complaining that, I brought people over the house, which wasn't true. Basically what it was I was not giving him sex. And apparently I was supposed to do that because he helped me, which wasn't in the agreement anywhere because I was still half trying to figure things out with Scott. So Roger is the name of the guy that took me in when the boy's mother kicked me out. Roger originally placed me with a female friend of his, but her father passed away, and so I moved into his house. He had a roommate at the time. I slept in the living room on the futon. Mike had his own room, and Roger had his own room. And at that point, it was really, I don't want to have my kid in a shelter. So I was grasping at whatever straws I could grasp at. And things were okay for a little while. Mike moved out around October that year. And next thing I know, well, I'm going to tell you what to eat because it's good for the baby. I'm going to tell you when to sleep because it's good for the baby. And I'm thinking, okay, you know what, that makes sense. Proper nutrition, proper rest, that makes sense. Problem is, after Michael was born, it became a matter of all my friends were his friends, and he was 39, 40, I think, back then. So I didn't have any friends my own age. I was not allowed to get on the internet, or, he even cut me off from phoning my mother, my adopted mother, the woman that raised me, when I needed her advice. My mother and I have a pretty sketchy, pretty rocky relationship, but when I call her and I'm crying, she'll help me. And Roger actually cut me off from that for almost 5 months before I was finally able to get out. I befriended the apartment complex manager because I was left at home all day with nothing better to do. So I brought Michael up, and she had nothing better to do, at her job. Her job was pretty easy. So she, would play with Michael, and, I'd talk to her and stuff. And when she finally realized the whole story, because I don't really tell people the whole story until it's a little bit too late, she told me that I could get Michael and I could go stay at her house. So I called the police, and in between of when I called and when the police actually arrived, Roger had pulled on Michael's arm to the point where if I hadn't let go, he would have hurt him. So by the time the police got there, Michael was in Roger's hands. The police refused to give Michael to me, and basically told me, if you touch Roger, you're going to jail for assault. And they also told me that if I was going to have their help leaving, that I needed to do it now because they wouldn't respond again. I was too young, too ignorant to know that they have to respond. To know that if I'd had a birth certificate at the time, Roger was not on the birth certificate. Nobody was. That it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. They would have, dealt with it. For the next 6 months, visitations that were promised to me were pretty few and far between. Roger made me sign paperwork. It wasn't legal paperwork, but it was paperwork saying that, I was terminating my rights and that I wanted Roger to take care of Michael because that was the only way he'd let me see Michael. It escalated from there to give me money, give me, stuff I can sell because I can't take care of your kid either. I need to get on food stamps. I need to sell stuff on eBay to make ends meet and da-da-da-da. And I met Donovan later on that year, July of that year. And the people I was living with kicked me out again because I wrecked my bike and almost broke my arm.